So I was rewatching Fantastic Four with my friends, and in the end, Franklin revived his mom, which is a feat that, in the MCU, only Eternity had ever pulled off before. Eternity brought back Gore's daughter, Love, using a part of himself, which is why you can see that Eternity likes shadow around her. That's also the reason why she has powers, something we saw at the end of Thor: Love and Thunder. And if you ignore Hulk's role here, you'll notice that Tony too came back to life when his heartbeat stopped for a moment. So, in the MCU, reviving the dead is a feat that only two people have performed so far. But while discussing this with my friends, I reached a conclusion: maybe, just maybe, there exists a child in the MCU even more powerful than Franklin, a child nobody really talks about. Franklin did revive his mom, but the one I'm talking about kept himself alive even after death, and kept his brother alive too. If you still haven't guessed, I'm talking about Billy Maximoff. Billy isn't just some normal mutant or sorcerer. He was born out of Wanda's magic. But when Wanda's chaos magic faded away, when the Hex collapsed, Billy still continued to exist. That means his powers are independent of Wanda's magic. And that's where we get a hint. Billy's destiny is connected to a much larger entity in the MCU. For this, you need a bit of background, which comes from Marvel Comics. When the Marvel Comics universe was first created, the One Above All placed the Demiurge inside Earth's biosphere. From this, the Elder Gods were born, like Gia and Thawne. But the Demiurge itself was not a physical being. And so, a prophecy emerged that it would one day return in a form. In the comics, it's clear that this form is none other than Billy Maximoff. America Chavez's entire dimension was created by the Demiurge, and that's why in the comics you can already see Billy's statue there, even before his birth. In the MCU, we get a parallel hint at Mount Wundagore, where we don't just see Wanda's statue but Billy's too. That means the seeds of the Demiurge connection were planted long ago in the MCU. They just never gave us direct hints. The Demiurge power level of Billy is insanely high. To understand it simply, this entity can rewrite the rules of the multiverse. He doesn't just use magic, he defines the very laws of magic. In the MCU, we get a small glimpse of this during Agatha All Along, where Billy reality warps Agatha's Witch's Road into existence. Agatha had created it to absorb power, but Billy actually made it real. And the biggest feat is that Billy kept his brother Tommy's soul alive, until it eventually found a host body. And this wasn't something he did knowingly, but simply by existing. It's very similar to how Wanda unknowingly gave Pietro powers, allowing him to survive Hydra's Mind Stone experiments when every other human test subject died. All of Billy's feats so far have been unconscious. Now imagine, what if he starts acting knowingly? What could he actually do? Meanwhile, Franklin Richards' powers are extremely innate. He doesn't need spells, chants, or rituals. He only needs to think, and he can create an entirely new pocket dimension. In the comics, he has defeated Celestials, revived a cosmic being like Galactus, and made him his herald. And his reality warping capacity is so extreme that he has been labeled beyond Omega level. Franklin isn't just a hero. He's considered a universal, or even multiversal, threat. Now, when it comes to Wiccan, Billy, his power base is magic. He is extremely powerful and can alter reality, but the condition is he needs focus, and he needs belief in himself to achieve it. That means his emotional state matters a lot here. He has performed some major feats, like disabling King's force field, or even healing the Scarlet Witch. But all of that he achieved in the comics when he was emotionally stable. Now, if we talk about Franklin, he has performed feats like creating entire universes, and that too in his standard form. That's a massive deal. But here comes the game-changing point. When Wiccan reaches his final destined form, he won't just become the Demiurge, he will also become the Sorcerer Supreme. The Demiurge is an entity that stands above even the multiverse, with the ability to rewrite the very rules of reality itself. It holds the capacity to define the laws of magic across all realities, which means Wiccan has the potential to become not just Franklin's equal, but far more dangerous than him. So here's the way to look at it. If it's standard Wiccan versus Franklin Richards, Franklin is almost a sure-shot winner. His raw creation and destruction powers are much greater than Wiccan's spell-based reality warping. But when the scenario shifts to Demiurge Wiccan versus adult Franklin Richards, then it becomes an evenly matched god-tier clash. Franklin's advantage is that he already has quantifiable feats, universe creation, making Galactus his herald and even defeating Celestials. Wiccan's advantage is that the Demiurge form is theoretically limitless, and he can change the very rules of magic itself. Which means, on one side, you have a guy who can create universes. On the other side, you have a guy who can decide how universes should even be created. And that's why the result of this battle has always been speculative. Franklin has more proven feats, but Wiccan's potential as the Demiurge seems practically limitless. Some people might argue that Franklin could be declared the main winner in the MCU, because even though he's just a child, Dr. Doom specifically sought him out in the Fantastic Four movie. Doom could have gone to Billy too, since Billy also has reality warping powers, but he didn't. But let me remind you, Franklin is still just a very small kid, much easier to manipulate compared to Billy. Billy not only has more maturity, but he also has his ghost mentor Agatha by his side. Agatha is so powerful that she literally flirted with death itself, something that, in the comics, only Thanos dared to do. Agatha has the knowledge and the experience, which she would use to guide and help Billy under any circumstances. So even if Franklin overpowers Billy, with Agatha's assistance, Billy could still beat him. Note, here I am only talking about the movie versions, and under the assumption that both characters are of the same age. So now you tell me, do you really think Franklin is the most powerful child in the MCU? Or could Billy actually take the #1 spot in the most powerful category? Share your opinions in the comments. I'll see you there discussing this. Until then, bye-bye.